If we read the Gospel according to St. John, then we know that it is different from those according to St. Matthew, St. Mark and St. Luke. It's on a different level. But it is very historical, more historical than the first three Gospels. And that's perplexing for liberal biblical scholars in terms of what it says about the topography of Palestine, the customs, the feasts. It seems to be very, very much on the button with ancient Israel. And that shouldn't be, because of course St. John's Gospel is supposed to be some kind of mythical version of Jesus' life. The Gospel according to St. John emphasises various things. Of course the deity of Christ, but also the love of Christ, for us the love of God. And that carries over into the three letters of St. John. If you read the Gospel according to me, the Gospel as revealed to me, known as the Poem of the Man God by Maria Valtorta, or by Jesus, as I would say, then you see this St. John. You see him as the innocent one, the pure one, the one who reaches heights that the others don't reach of spiritual development. Jesus tells us why it's not him, but St. Peter is made the head of the apostolic group, the first pope. But I won't talk about that now. I'll talk about that another time. But John is quite rightly seen by our ancient Catholic traditions as the eagle, because the eagle soars closest to the sun in mythology. It sees clearly, it sees over vast distances. And St. John is like that. He is hovering above in the way that the others could not do, even in this earthly life, during the ministry of Jesus. So it's good to hear from an apostle speaking directly in the pages of Maria Valtorta's notebooks. They don't all appear to her and speak to her. So it's good to hear them as persons outside of the 2,000-year-old Palestinian context. Though by reading the Gospel according to me, you get to know all the apostles in their personalities, what distinguishes them one from the other, which there's no time or space in the canonical Gospels to do. So Jesus had said to Maria Valtorta on the 5th of March 1944, I'm going to send John to you tomorrow. And he'd been talking about how we should be like children to inherit the kingdom of God, as in fact it's said in the Gospel, from Jesus' own lips. But March the 6th, 1944, St. John appears to the Blessed, to Maria Valtorta. John says, "It is I. Do not be afraid of me either. I am charity. I've absorbed and preached it so much, and am thus fused into it so much, that I am charity that speaks. Little sister, we can say this: our hands have touched the word of life, for life became manifest, and we have seen it, and bear witness to it." There's a footnote there. First letter of John, chapter 1, verses 1 to 3. And I could also say it echoes the prologue of the Gospel of John. But to continue, St. John speaking. We can say this, we who repeat the words which our love, Jesus Christ, speaks to us in his goodness, surpassing all goodness. And he leads us onto flowery paths, where each flower is a truth and a heavenly beatitude. We can say this, we who are filled like a copious hive with the sweetness flowing from the divine lips, from those most holy lips, which after having broken the bread of doctrine for the throngs of Galilee, of all Palestine, were able to consecrate the bread to become divine flesh and break himself for the nourishment of man's spirit. Those most innocent lips which you have seen bleeding and contracting and becoming rigid in the passion and death undergone for us. We can say, this is the message which we have received from him and which we announce to you. God is light, and in him there is no darkness. And that's a quote from 1 John 1, verse 5. His light is in us because his word is light. We live in the light and hear its heavenly harmony. I'll just break off there for a minute. And this is what John is going to do. He's going to give Maria Valtorta a flavour of the harmony, the music of heaven, if I can put it that way. That's something we can therefore benefit from listening as I continue this reading, because this awaits us as well. Come, little sister, I want to have you hear the harmony of the heavenly spheres, the harmony of the light, for paradise is light. Light overflows and expands from the triune splendour and pervades all of paradise with itself. We live in and by the light. It is our joy, our food, and our voice. Paradise sings with words of light. It is light. It is the glowing of light that forms these solemn, powerful, soft chords in which there are the trills of children, the sighs of virgins, the kisses of lovers, the hosannas of adults, and the glory of seraphim. They are not songs like those of the poor earth, where even the most spiritual things must be clothed in human forms. Here, there is the harmony of splendours producing sound. It is an arpeggio of luminous notes rising and falling as the splendours change, and it is eternal and always new, for nothing is weighed down with old age in this eternal present. Listen to this indescribable concert and be happy. Join in with your throbbing of love. It is the only thing you can join to, that you can join to it without profaning heaven. You are still human, sister, and here humanity does not enter, but love enters. It precedes you. It precedes your spirit. It sings with it. Every other song would be the creaking of insects in the great heavenly choir. Love is already a harmonious sigh in the sweet song. May the peace of Jesus, our love, be with you. And that is the end of St. John's dictation, or his monologue to Maria Valtorta. And then she writes, Father, I cannot describe the singing luminosity which I see and hear. I am inebriated with this beauty, this sweetness. If an immense, boundless rose, made of a light compared to which that of all the stars and planets is the spark of a hearth in moving its petals in a wind of love, with a form of sound, that will be something which might resemble what I see and hear, which is paradise immersed in the golden light of the most holy Trinity, with its inhabitants of diamantine light. Enough, enough. I remain silent because the human word is blasphemy when it tries to describe the eternal beauty of God and of his kingdom.